both of you having separate experiences. Patrick, I want to start with you. How are
Sure.
you and, of course, the other people at the resort where you're staying reacting to this news?
I think yesterday was everybody was on their media devices trying to figure out what was going on. There was a lot of chatter around the pool side of the events of the day, what they'd heard from the doorman, what they've heard from other places. And yesterday was a bit surreal in a way.
And how were they feeling, and how are you feeling with those conversations?
A bit concerned, mostly because of the account of trouble at one of the nearby airports, and knowing that we were scheduled to fly out today. Also, the fact that where I'm staying is a very popular tourist destination, and could be that we might be a target, but it doesn't look like that right now.
You know, Chantal, I want to bring in your experience now, too, because you're, of course, staying at a rented apartment. You, Chantal, are expecting to be there for 90 days, so it's part vacation, part work, but obviously not a popular tourist resort. The warnings here are shelter in place amid an outbreak of violence. So how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, you know, it's been pretty good. We were in a gated community, so we're very fortunate about that. Our concern is more about if they're going to stop trucks coming in terms of food and water. But other than that, I mean, we haven't really seen much violence. We feel pretty safe here. And I guess our biggest concern is just having internet, making sure internet stays functioning so that we can communicate with our families. And of course, for me, to work. And food and water, I think, are the big things that we're concerned about right now versus safety.
So when they say shelter in place then, and you're saying that one of the concerns you have is down the line, whether or not that might impact your access to necessary supplies, how are you sheltering in place? And are you perhaps preparing to have a stash of those supplies ready on hand given these warnings?
Yes, so the buses aren't running right now, so we can't actually leave our residence because I don't have a car, so I would have to walk. So there is a pharmacy down the street here that I walk to get some water, but the supply is getting pretty scarce because, of course, everyone is going to the pharmacies because that's the only thing opened right now. But, you know, international travel, you just have to be prepared for whatever happens.
This might not have been on your list, though, for things to be prepared for specifically. You know, Patrick, I want to go back to you because you mentioned that you're at a popular resort. We know Mazatlán is very common. It's a very common destination, especially for people from Western Canada. You said you were, you wanted to fly out. You know, you were scheduled to fly out. We know that there were reports that airports, there might have been some security issues there. Those were some reports that were made. How concerned are you about getting home now? What efforts are you taking to make sure that you can?
Well, anything can happen along the way. My understanding is that the Mazatlán airport reopened last night just a little bit after 8 o'clock. Checking departure times today, everything's been, there's been a few canceled, but there's still some that have been delayed, ours being one of them. So I guess right now, for the rest of the day, it's going to be a wait and see.
And have you been talking to family back home or friends back home about the situation? Because certainly the news, well, it's alarming.
Yeah, only through Facebook, really, and Messenger. That's about it.
And I was going to ask also about the mood. We were talking within the resort. Have you heard anyone who's trying to get out sooner because of these safety concerns?
No, I haven't heard anything. I think today there is a lot of frustration and concern about whether we can actually get it or not. But at this point, we most recognize that it's really out of our hands. And so we're just going to have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
And also wanted to ask you at the resort whether or not there is heightened security there, given, of course, the outbreak of violence.
Our normal house security has, has been a lot more visible. There apparently offshore there was a number of ships that were, or I should say watercraft that were located at regular intervals across the horizon. So that was a bit of a, haven't seen that before. But other than that, I think we feel pretty safe at the moment. Yeah.
And now, Chantal, I did want to ask you, too. We know that Patrick's towards the end of his vacation there. He's on his way home, hopefully, as long as the flights stay on schedule. But you, of course, are at the start of a 90-day stay in that area. Is there any point in which you would consider or reconsider how long you're staying there? What are you watching for in the coming days?
Yeah, for me, it's really what the Canadian government, if they mandate me to come back home or make a high recommendation that we leave the country, I will certainly consider it. But as long as I have access to food and water and transportation, my plan is to stay here.
And you have your son there with you as well. Does that sort of heighten your concern? And how's your son feeling?
Yeah, he's doing well. Just trying to protect him from the news, of course, and he loves the pool and the sunshine, and just trying to help him not be at the effect of things so that he can enjoy his vacation.